Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Practical Principles. This is Practical Prince. Today is Talking Tarot. So I'll go ahead and throw the chat out. And otherwise, I'll just get set up and talk while people join. So hope you're doing well. Although it's understandable if you're coming here for answers because you're not doing well. But we can only do so much about that. Let's go ahead. I don't know if there's a better solution for showing the cards. Because it is annoying having to deal with the feedback loop that hooking up my phone creates. But it is what it is. So, and hopefully it stays alive. We'll see. Because otherwise, dealing with feedback, well, that's not really going to happen. And hopefully I don't spill on anything. Recently got my first Oracle deck, but I still need to figure out how it's intended to be used because it's not a traditional tarot. So I'll have to look into that, figure out what it's meant for, or how it's meant to be used, really. So yeah, I've got my Destiny deck and the Lost Forest, Prisma Cosma, Sun and Moon. Excellent. And Lisa, the creator of the Destiny deck, recently started another Kickstarter for a set of decks. The style seems similar to Destiny, which I like. But I haven't had enough time to look at it to see if I should really spend my money. Not that I don't think it's worthwhile, but I mean, I do want it to speak to me to a certain extent. So yeah, I guess I'll just go through this, learning the spread machine, as it's called. Or maybe I'll start with the little booklet. So that might be faster, with more words rather than cards. A spread crafting deck. And so I don't know if you're supposed to pick the different aspects that you're interested in or trying to work on, etc., and then flip cards for those. But yeah. So the basics. 5 categories. Call to action divided into 4. Okay. So that tells me more along the lines of content. But we're trying to figure out why create spread machines. I guess tarot spreads are just a bunch of cards that they're reading with, right? I think a card spread is an amazing creative opportunity to design an experience. Or wait, so you can take a picture of your reading. A tarot spread is a creative and practical way to capture a thought process. I guess that's sort of what I do already, where I try to figure out what aspects are relevant and then draw cards for those. Um, which question should you ask first? To delineate a sequence of actions that you can take to approach a problem or an issue. Which question should you ask first? What is the answer that you are trying to find? How do you want to feel at the end of the reading? If you are a professional, what are you trying to enable your client to see? The spread you create can be something that launches you straight into the hustle to tackle the challenges at hand, or it can be a ritualistic undertaking down to the depths of your subconscious, to the but on Google, you can just look up a spread, just play around with it, right? Okay. A tarot spread can be done with a lot of intention. True. Okay. Nothing crazy there. Um, I'm going to update. Hope you're doing well. I think I'm going to try a new caption. Hey, Andre, or Andrea, not quite sure which way. I'm pretty sure I've met both at this point. Hope you're doing well. Okay, there it goes. Let's try that caption for a little while. I hope your day's been good. I should probably try to figure out how far the channel gets. Because I answered a question for someone about an arranged marriage, I think it was, which, I mean, that's not common in my culture. I'd normally associate that with India, I think. Maybe just Oriental. But yeah, it'd be interesting if, because I mean, if I were the algorithm of a social platform, I would assume that an English person or an American person would attract people from their country. And so, as an algorithm, I'd probably show them more so to that. But maybe they figured out that that's a false assumption or something. Hey, Radha. Yeah, go ahead and ask your question. Let me go ahead and set this aside. And I'll figure out which deck will be best. I have a feeling it's going to be my Destiny deck, but we'll find out. I tend to use the Destiny deck a bit more than the others. Um, I laugh a little just because it reminds me of um, my girlfriend, or I guess fiance at this point, because she's of the anxious variety. And when we first were dating, um, well, she basically wanted daily contact. Okay, I'll get to your question in a sec, Andrea. Um, so I guess from speaking to Rada, um, you might just be anxious. I mean, I can go ahead and try to answer this, but um, it might just be that you need more patience or trust, which, okay, so it's been a while. It's not day to day. Okay, much better. Um, so really the question is, does he miss you? And I guess, when will he get back in contact? Or a sense of that, if or when? So there's missing you. Okay. And then there's reaching out. I can do a yes or oh. Oh. You're talking literally like he sends yes or no. Okay. Um, trying to figure out how I want to lay that out. I mean, I'll definitely do a card for you as a stand-in, a card for him, which we don't necessarily need to flip, because really we're just interested in the aspects between you. So we've got you, we've got him. We're going to have whether or not he misses you, and then we're wanting contact in the short term and the long term. Okay. Let me go ahead and show you. You can do it. Okay. Okay, so this is our spread. This is whether or not he misses you, this representing him. And then whether he'll reach out in the short term and then long term. And then that's the card representing you. So I'll go ahead and flip these. I with like both hands. And then I've also got my guide for this deck, so I can share the specific cards with you. So whether or not he misses you, we have the Empress. Let me go ahead and share my thing and find that. So we've got calls upon the divine feminine side of you and encourages compassion, beauty, and love. Deeply passionate and maternal, her influence is creative, elegant, asks us to be kind to ourselves and search for beauty and happiness in our life. Experience the pleasure and satisfaction of your accomplishments. Man, that's It doesn't really say he's missing, but with that strong feminine energy, I mean, I would be inclined to say yes on that regard, in answer to that aspect. So, and then we're looking at the short-term contact. We got Seven of Swords. And it's got notes on there for dishonesty and betrayal, so that's almost certainly a no. He's not going to be answering for a while, would be my guess, but let me check. There we go. When there are struggles of the mind that require you to look at yourself and questions your motivations and intentions. It's commonly known as the Thief card. Realign your thoughts with your purest intentions in order to avoid any mental struggle. It can also appear as a message to protect yourself. Yeah, so this almost sounds like a no. And it would suggest that he's, and well, possibly one of you or both of you has something you need to work through. So that doesn't speak too favorably to short term, but then let's see long term. We've got the Hierophant, which the notes there are tradition and knowledge. Self-realization, higher learning. This card is a messenger from the universe, is very experienced in his inner knowing, and brings the message that it is time to develop emotionally and spiritually. He is a symbol of education. When this card is revealed, we are told that we must find a higher path through learning. Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like after the Seven of Swords, one or both of you is going to be in a better place. Whether or not that means stuff will develop, if the relationship will progress, because it might also just be, that that you're both mature and you've realized that this isn't for you potentially. Maybe it is for you, but it's hard to say. So almost certainly in the end there will be contact, but whether that's the start of something more beautiful or more just closure, I can't be sure. Hope that helps. Not so positive for the short term as far as contact, but in the end it's going to work out. So, okay, and then Andrea, will he come back? Okay. Andrea, is this just a yes, no? Because if it is, that's fine. I find yes, no to sometimes be a bit simplistic. So, but that's me. Oh, Rada, those cards were just placeholders to represent the two of you. They weren't meant to be flipped. Yeah. Because usually the querent has their particular question. And so I go flip the aspects relevant to that. I mean, I'm curious now. I'll tell you, although it wasn't officially part of the reading. For him, we had Six of Wands, and the notes there are victory and good news. And for you, we've got 10 of Cups, which indicates prosperity and celebration. So, I mean, things are good for the two of you, but as far as this relationship goes, we've already flipped the cards relevant to that. So, yeah. I'll have to keep that in mind. I didn't realize that was potentially disappointing. And I guess let me go ahead and show the two before I shuffle them back in. But I don't think you needed them as far as answering your question goes. So there's the 6 of Wands and 10 of Cups. So but yeah, as far as answering your question, yeah, I don't think we needed those cards. They were just placeholders. So time to shuffle, and then let's see if haven't heard from Dre. She might have dropped off. But we'll go ahead and do. I wonder if it's just a slow connection from the Czech Republic. We'll go ahead and answer. We'll see if she pops back in. And maybe she's just typing answers now. Who knows? We've got a yes, no. And if anybody else wants to post questions or just chat, feel free to comment. Oh, hey, Andre. And hey, KG. So, Andre, your question sounded very much like a yes, no. Let me go ahead and pop that up. Did we want to get into any details, or did we just want to leave it at that level? Keep it simple. I'm doing pretty well, Katie. Got on stream pretty close to on time. Takes a little longer setting this up because I can get feedback from the phone. But how are you? Doing well? Sorry, just trying to feel for where the cards need to be. So, yeah, okay, that will be fine. So we'll just do a yes/no spread for Andrea, whichever way it's pronounced. So this consists of 3 cards. Let me go ahead and show the spread. I can just jump there. That'll be faster. There we go. Scroll a little. Perfect. And share so people can see. Sure, KG. And you can go ahead and comment on that. And then I'll just come back to it once I'm done with Andrea. So this is what I'm going to do for the yes-no spread. I've got the 3 cards. And we'll go through and flip. So we've got Queen of Pentacles, as well as Judgment, which is a major arcana, and the Fool. Nice to see a couple major arcana. So let's see. I'm a little worried about Judgment, but it's not in the list of no's, so that's good. The Fool is usually optimistic, so that would be a yes. And then let's double check. Queen of Pentacles. No, I'm not seeing them in the no, neutral, or exception. So I think these are all yes cards, which means you've got a strong yes. So it sounds like he will come back. And let me go ahead and show you. We can take that one off. There you go. So Queen of Pentacles, Judgment, and the Fool. So sounds very affirmative. No problem. I hope it actually works. Let me know if it does. And then, KG, if you want to drop your question in, I'll start shuffling. But we can start talking about it and figure out how much detail you want to get into, what kind of spread would be best. So. That is very specific. Do we want to go into detail on this? Or are you also wanting to keep it simple? Because I'm guessing there's an aspect of you, I mean, I assume you're wanting them to contact, but I could be wrong. Keep it simple. Okay. We'll do then. And we'll just do the same sort of yes, no. Let me go ahead and throw that back up. And we'll My bad. I guess I need my video on the screen or it doesn't carry the volume through. So that's good to know. That means people will have to suffer through my lovely face all the time. Okay, almost done. Excellent. Okay. 3 cards. And we're just using the same spread. So you've got the yes/no guide there. And flip. So we've got 3 of Wands, 3 of Swords, and 3 of Cups. So many 3s. Okay, so 3 of Swords is a no. The 3 of Cups and the 3 of Wands seem to be yeses. They're not on the other list. So, so based on the guide, the answer is yes. They will contact you. The guide would suggest that this sort of outcome can take a while. So I'm not quite sure as far as the timeline that you're asking about, because I'm almost inclined to say that they'll contact you, but potentially later than tonight. But yeah, going strictly off the guide, it would say yes. So, and then let's go ahead and show that. So there's your cards. You got 3 3s. As magical a coincidence as it can be. I don't know how much that 3 of Swords is messing with things. I wouldn't, probably not too long, would be my guess, because there is some power to the number. So I'd say sooner rather than later. I'd probably be looking at days, maybe. I wouldn't be thinking weeks or months or anything like that. So it still could be tonight. It still is a yes. But yeah, there's a little hesitance there with that 3 of Swords. So, so yeah, keeping it simple, it's indicating. So let's go back to the guideline. I wonder what the delay is between our chats. So you've got the 3 of Swords here on the no, but everything, the other 3s fall under yes cards. So you're hitting this scenario, 2 yes cards with a no or neutral. So positive outcome likely, but may take time to come about. So the guide isn't too specific. The 3 of Swords is a weaker no, in my opinion. So I would say not too long if it's not tonight. But yeah, I hope the heart being stabbed isn't what's concerning you. Did that answer your question, or do we need to dig in a little more? Well, let me go ahead and look up because there's not too much more I could go into, but let's look at the 3 of Swords specifically. And then we can try to figure out what influence it's having. This card has a very direct representation, which is the pain of truth. This is a moment to face reality. This card shows up when there has been a betrayal of trust in a friendship or relationship or in a work matter. The positive side of this card tells you that you have gotten to the heart of the matter. The disillusionment is gone. The rays in the background indicate that it is time to begin the healing process. In a reading, this card asks you to take care of the heart. Safeguard your emotional and physical well-being. Allow your emotions to come through so that you start the process of growth and healing. So, given your question was on timeline, and that it's pushing back on that a bit, I don't know if maybe you have expectations or something to that effect about it being tonight specifically. And it could be that the sword's got to stab that. So there's going to be a delay. But I mean, once that expectation is gone, the rest falls through. You've got the other threes carrying you to the yes. So that's why I think there might be a delay, probably a small one. Well, now it seems like you wanted more information, maybe. Gosh. I don't know what this person is to you, but no contact. I mean, the swords could be talking about the illusion that they are there. And in this case, they could possibly just not be there. Not in the way you want them to be, at least, or need them to be. Or at the very least expect them to be. And so that's the truth stabbing into it. And so maybe it just, no problem. Most likely you just need to revisit your expectations of this person, and there's a good chance you'll need to downgrade them to a certain extent. But I mean, it's for the better, because then when you are in contact, when they do reach out, then you've got a realistic expectation. You've got a better grasp. And what can I say? When your expectations are lined up with reality, then things tend to work out a bit better. So hopefully that answers it. If there was more details you wanted to get to, we'd probably need another reading, something more specifically about that. Okay. Yeah, it's curious doing these. I mean, you know all of the context behind your question, and I only have cards. But it's funny, though. I mean, it happens with my girlfriend sometimes where I get partial answers, and then she has the rest of the answer. And it's kind of funny sometimes how she'll hold out because she was hoping that I would get a full answer instead. But yeah. Okay. What can I say? Yeah, so if there's more questions, and if anybody else who's joined has questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm just going to shuffle this now, so we can keep the magic alive. And otherwise, I'll work on my monologuing, I guess. Oh, I guess we're done with the question. We can go back to the new caption. Ta-da! There we go. Okay. I wonder if I'll get to do a reading with my Lost Forest deck. I do like Destiny. I think it works well for a lot of questions. But I have to say, I've got a fondness for the art of the Lost Forest. So. And I was supposed to be monologuing. I'll need to work on that. Perfect piles. Excellent. We're going to stack this way this time. Okay. Hope you're all doing well. I'm going to put this back. And I guess if nobody's got questions, then I guess I'll work on my own. Not that I have a tarot question per se, but I got this spread machine oracle deck, and I haven't figured out how it's meant to be used. So, because a lot of what I've been reading so far is that you make spreads with a purpose, which I do, and that gives it some power. So then what do I need what she calls a spread machine for? I mean, I got it for the art. I thought it was cool and colorful, and at least similar to the tarot aspect. But let's see. Consciously creating a spread is somewhat of a cheat activity that overlays into self-discovery and power activation. Actually, you're okay. If you are trying to figure out what it is you are meaning to ask, how the heck are you supposed to find the answers that you seek? So I guess this is where there's confusion about the question, or what kind of questions. So I guess maybe this deck is more for formalizing a spread, giving different cards or positions in the spread particular meaning to then presumably use a tarot deck. So just a general reading, I guess. And when you're referring to guidance, career. Let me figure out which deck would be the better choice. I mean, I've been using Destiny deck a lot, and I think that's great for a lot of questions. Guidance, career. Yeah, I think we'll switch to the Prisma one for this. You're looking for some insight. So let me switch from fancy scarf to the Prisma Man. There we go. Ooh. Okay, so you already know you want to progress it. We're looking for guidance. I think this is ready. Okay. It's a bit vague because there's a lot of different aspects it could be about. So I'm almost tempted to just flip cards until we've got a good sense. I think, okay. Yeah, okay. I think that deck is ready. So we'll just flip cards until we've got enough guidance, enough inspiration. Until we've got enough guidance. So our first one is Queen of Wands. And I don't have a digital guide for this one, so I'll have to find it in my book. There we go. So the quick aspects are charisma, radiating energy, inspirational. It's a vibrant expression of a brimming mind, which totally matches how you've described yourself, at least, and in terms of the current job. Takes all of the positive energy of fire and warms the world with it, radiating confidence and charisma. Your joyful display is infectious, inspiring positivity in others. As a result, she is a respected, productive leader. Consider how you can incorporate her enlivening energy into your life. And maybe that's not you. Maybe you don't have that energy, and the card is suggesting that you get that. My first impression is that that's already who you are. Do you want to weigh in on that? Because I feel like you do have uplifting energy. I don't know if it's as radiant as this might sound to you, but it still probably is. I think we're going to need at least one more card. Okay. So the next card we got, Ace of Chalices. And I'll go ahead and show these to you once we're done flipping them. Let's get the answer first. New emotion, intimate connection, love. Some deep wellspring of emotional forces bubbling up inside you or around you. It promises the beginnings of an intimate connection guided by the heart. Open yourself to love and compassion, draw deep feelings to the surface, and let them shine. So I guess this would be suggesting also, obviously you feel like, maybe it's not obvious, but you're a bit unsatisfied with work. And you want something more meaningful. And this is suggesting, well, just that you're going to need that and that you're looking for it. So I don't think that's anything new to you. So I'm going to get another card. Two of Chalices. Okay. Shared connection, partnership, receptive. By mixing freely with each other, sharing ourselves without reservation, we allow people to see our true nature. Let your inner beauty course out, inspiring others to do the same. Be welcoming, receptive, and genuinely grateful for others' presence in your life. It will meld and merge with your aura to create something vivacious and free. I think the particular line there sticking out as far as your situation is sharing of ourselves without reservation. We allow people to see our true nature. And I mean, at first blush, that's about you shining your light to the world. But in a sense, other people seeing that light can then tell you about that. So, I mean, by interacting with other people, and maybe even asking them about it, they might be able to give you a feel or a beat for what would be good for you, where your light shines brightest and stuff like that. It might also be about the next job having to deal with people and interacting with them a lot, or maybe not a lot, but interacting with people. I mean, the Ace of Chalices, you've got good connection going there as well. But yeah, I'm leaning towards you'll probably get some insight from talking with others, and them giving you a sense for yourself. And then Nine of Swords. I felt like we needed more, so I flipped, and now I'm a little scared because it's a swords, but it'll work out. Not a 10, I need 9. Fear, vulnerability, paralysis. A cruel card. The Nine of Swords depicts fear so great it leaves the martyr numb to the onslaught of forthcoming pain. Fear cripples any, I can't remember how to say this word, it's riposte, I want to say, leaving him vulnerable to a swift destruction. But take heed from his paralysis. Though the situation is grave, it is his passivity that ensures his ruin. If you find yourself overwhelmed by hopelessness and despair, don't respond like this hapless figure. You'll see the picture in the end. Face your fears with valor and dignity, trusting that your enemy will be overcome. I think that's speaking as a warning that if you linger in it and you don't figure this out, you'll just be consumed. Boredom is not the worst thing to be consumed by, but it does lead to worser things, apathy and so on. So, yeah. Not a foreboding future, probably a warning if you do nothing. We've got King of Chalices. Let's see. And I hope it's okay. I'm just going to keep going until I feel like we got enough guidance. Reigning emotions, powerful conduit, in control. The king is all about reigning in the emotions. So like reining in a horse. Recognizing to their true power, he carves out channels for them to flow in an advantageous, intentional ways. Shepherd of the roiling river, he is a master of its destiny, and it lends its churning strength to his designs. By harnessing your emotions, you become lord of your own experience, directing the formless energy into hail, corporeal creation. So I don't know if that's because you've got that bubbling Ace of Chalices. Here, let me just go ahead and show you the picture so far, and I'll even leave the book there for a bit. Bookmark that before I can use it. because these pages aren't, well, they haven't been broken in. So shift, turn. Okay. So here you have that Queen of Wands, along with Ace of Chalices. This is where you get a lot of that bubbling energy and deep connection. This is where, you were sensing that you need more. The Queen of Wands was radiating energy. Two of Chalices is the suggestion, inspiration that by interacting with others, you'll be able to get a better feel for. Let me move this out of the way. What you should do, what path you should go down. Nine of Swords. This is the guy who's getting eaten by the bird. Let me go ahead and zoom in on the action. That's the warning. If you stay still and don't address this. King of Chalices, and his thing is all about controlling the energy and then directing it in a useful way. And that's not a 1-2 step thing per se. Because you can do both at once, directing it, which in a sense is putting it towards where it needs to go. So there's a lot of this energy going on with the chalices. You had your warning and then the light that you've started with. I feel like we need more, so I'm going to keep going once I set this down. 6 of Chalices. You're really a chalice girl, aren't you? Assuming you're a girl. Don't want to be sexist or anything. Renewal, revisiting past memories, vibrancy. The world can be harsh and unforgiving, and it's easy to let the sorrow and grime of daily living dull the vibrant shine of your existence. But the river that flows through the 6 of Chalices offers a chance to buff it clean. Renew yourself. Break the cycles of suffering by pursuing the simple, innocent values of childhood. Share, work together, be kind to others. Immerse yourself. Forget your cares and rejuvenate. So, that probably speaks the most directly to what you've already been sensing yourself. So, I don't know that we need to dig much into that. There is sort of that nostalgia, revisiting childhood in a sense, back to basics, the simple values. Between the 2 of Chalices and 6 of Chalices, you've got some action, but I'm inclined to flip at least one more. Probably just one more. Seems like this spread has naturally formed itself into a suite of 7. So, 7 of Pentacles. So close. 7. Setting intentions, great reward, future planning. Innocuous and unassuming, within every seed rests a sleeping empire. Whether or not it rises from dormancy depends on many factors, not the least of which is simple chance. Nevertheless, whatever you cultivate has a good chance of surviving into maturity. So take care that what you are planting is wholesome and fully accounted for. Don't be fooled by the smallness of their being. Potent, fertile, they wait to sire nations. So, yeah. Along the same lines, you'll have to cultivate whatever this next endeavor is to a certain extent. And then eventually from seeds, you'll have trees. Okay. Yeah, I feel like this ended up as 7. So, and we ended on the 7 card, so it seems fitting in my mind. So, just to get all the cards. And so the new ones were the 6 of Chalices and the 7 of Pentacles. So, as far as the actions, yes, I do have patience in spades, so it works well for me. Yeah, I mean, there's probably the 3 strongest ones here, as far as like things you could act on. The 2 of Chalices, and figuring out your light by interacting with others and getting a pulse from them on what would be good. The 6 of Chalices with the aspects of renewal, but also back to basics sort of thinking. And then the 7 of Pentacles, which, I mean, you touched it in your comment, will require some patience and time, which, I mean, makes sense. You've mentioned you've basically got mastery at your job. At your new one, you're not planning to be a master. You will eventually, but you might just need to remember that it'll take time to grow into that new master, or whatever that new thing is, into mastery over that. So, okay. And let me take that down and then take a picture. I hope that was good. It seemed to be pretty spot on with your situation, which I worry about. I wasn't planning to flip 7 cards, but they all seemed appropriate. So I think they'll work well for you. And of course, you've got the video to reference. At some point, I try to post these to social media, so eventually those will show up. Although I don't know how to post to YouTube. It'll end up on other places. Well, yeah, and I think you and I both are hoping that it works out well. So, okay, let me shuffle so that other people can ask questions. Because it was nice. This deck was primed and ready for you, as it so happens. And now we'll get to prime it for someone else. Yeah, so, and we don't have to do tarot. We can just talk if you want. But if you do have questions for tarot, we can go ahead and answer those. I'm going to use my cards off the table. Slide those in. I like to use the edge of the table to make it easy to pull them off, but if they're going to slide off, it defeats the purpose of being able to stack them. Okay. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And if nobody has questions or comments, then I'll probably just go back to the spread machine and work on that, although it has been an hour, so maybe we'll just call that good. Don't want to extend longer than it's meant to be. So yeah, I think I'll look at the spread machine. So um, feel free to stick around while I work through that, or um, comment in chat, I guess. That'll be fine. Where the cheat sheet goes there. Okay. Back to spreads and figuring this out. So I think this might be in contrast to basically what we were just doing, where there's not a lot of certainty into exactly the aspects that are needed. I think this requires you to figure out what your question is so that you can then create the spread. So let's find out. And even if you aren't making choices about every spread position, you're just shuffling this deck to see what comes up, like we just did basically. In my opinion, it is still a sacred declaration of your commitment to yourself. You're really saying to yourself, I want to get to know you. I want to find answers for you. You don't even need to be creating a tarot spread. You're making the same declaration by picking up a deck of cards and shuffling them. But making a spread just gives that declaration an extra oomph. Yes, I want to get to know myself, and these are the questions I want to ask. Yeah, I mean, this one, at least with the cards that came with the deck, the base deck, I should say, because I did get some expansions. These are focused on more introspective stuff for the most part. So you've got like seeker, intention, motivation, behavior, and then, I mean, those are just some samples, but then you get onto other stuff and you've got like karma, wound, subconscious, innovate, lead, guide, align, heal, reframe, define, integrate. So I feel like this is more for inner work, what people would call shadow work. Let's take a quick look at I have the expansion somewhere. Do I really need this? I just feel good about it. Nope. Okay. Fair enough. And those can be face up because, I mean, the whole point is to be intentional. So you want to see what's there. Okay, so let's take a quick look. We've got Spread Machine Quest and Spread Machine Change. Let's start with Quest. Come on. You can do it. I mean, it's a great box until it can't be unlocked. Which isn't the fault of the box. I just feel bad because I feel like I'm going to rip into the tabs. So. But sacrifices must be made. It's such a pretty box, though. Okay. Largely survived. Oh, and there's a little booklet here. Which she did say she was going to... Oh, is that a different ending? I mean, it's got a sort of orangey gold sort of edge. I don't think, is this the same? No, these have, it's not white, but it's not quite the same as the purple on the cards. So I'll probably say a light purple, a lilac, or a lavender. Makes me wonder what the other cards would be. Now let's take a quick dig into the guidebook. Press start to join. Once upon a quest. Well, that's probably all we'll need. A panda. That is like her mascot or something like that. We have a story. I think that's just a story. Let's see. Spreads. Oh, so this includes some. That'll be fun. Let's see. What is gamification? Maybe let's go there and figure it out from there. And of course, if you guys have questions or something, feel free to drop those in and we can do a reading. Otherwise, I'll figure out the spread machine so that we can possibly use that in the future. Yeah, actually, I kind of want to look at the cards real quick, just to get a feel. So there's quick start. Okay, and then we've got more categories here with the quest theme: hero, sidekick, armor, weapon upgrades, blindness, weakened, experience needed, side quest, grind, high scores. Okay. This almost seems like its own standalone theme. Not that you couldn't use it with the spread machine, but it almost seems independent. Oh. Let me finish exploring. But yeah, it seems like it's a take off of games, and she refers to it as gamification. So it's sort of like in treating your question, or I guess just your life, if it were a general reading, possibly, in the context of a game, setting up a spread for that, and then you would flip the tarot corresponding. Mostly centered around role-playing games, but it could be anything. This will be your way of gamifying. Why gamify? It's fun. Personalize. The creed. There is a creed. And player one. Okay. I feel like I've got a good enough feel for this one. Now let's take a look at which way do we? I guess we'll go this way. So the guidebook is naturally the front. Nope, not coming out. Okay. And so I wonder if change is more the change expansion is more action oriented. I mean, the base deck. There we go. The base deck does have call to actions as part of it. But I guess a lot of it feels more like a map. Not so much a guide. It can tell you where you're at. But maybe this is supposed to answer how you get more details. Not that it doesn't have some in the base, but I'm guessing this will. Oh, that's going to hurt me. That's going to hurt me. There was a typo. Assumed to be a typo. Skim through everything. Yep, you're looking at me. Oh, but I'm not a Sagittarian. Yeah, and I guess feel free to listen to me mutter to myself, unless you want to ask questions. Simply read the next sense of the deck, how it's jumpstart 44 cards. So there's shadow work. Full heart symbol poses a question for you to prompt you to work. I'm wondering if that's like a symbol on the cards. Probably, yep. So we've got full hearts. Don't we have some? The clear heart symbol asks a question to help you heal and clear your heart space of the shadows. Oh, there it is. I just didn't spot it. It's within the text. It's not like a separate paragraph or something. So it always leads with the full heart. But then we've got the empty heart in the middle somewhere. Okay. And so we've got judgment, rage, alienation, / some shadow work, call to action, validate, empathize, reciprocate. I do love the art. Defend, and then on to flux, stereotype, consciousness, diversity, legacy. Okay. Now, does this expansion have a particular? Because I could have seen this as, whereas Quest seems like it could be standalone. I wonder intentions for this deck. No, perfect. Let's find out. It's okay to disengage, break. Changes the commitment to truth. So I hope we never stop. How to use it. As part of the series, you can use it to craft spreads or as journal prompts. You can use it as an oracle and do readings with it. You can even use the cards in this deck as your conversational prompts to spice up your afternoon tea. A tool for critical thinking and introspection. It's designed to unpack and examine perspectives. Okay. A tool for deconstruction work. A tool for shadow work. An opportunity to reclaim your narrative and your voice. Facilitate and encourage meaning dialogue along the lines of shadow work. And a call to action. Okay. So this does build off of, or actually, I guess it has its own shadow work category. So we've got that. From the shadow work category, pick out cards that generate feelings of resistance. That's something you can focus on. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I feel like we've got a good enough grasp here. So it's largely targeting shadow work and expanding on that. So I guess that's more directed, maybe. Oh, poor bugs. The boxes are pretty too. So, that's it'll be a struggle for you, huh? It's okay. Trying to tuck it in there and hopefully it'll stick more. But anyways, okay. I feel like we've had a good session, so thanks for joining. Hopefully I'll see you next Friday, if not during one of our other segments. And until then.